Life's like a movie. Lights, camera, action. Put your mind to it, live the life that you imagine. Life's like a movie. Lights, camera, action. Started off with nothing, now I'm big. Yeah, they try to stop me, find a way. Didn't never lie, now we're drinking champagne. Vision 2020, been a party all day. After everything we've been through, you know that we deserve to have a good time. Baby, you're a dime, I'll be watching you whine. On the dance floor, yeah, your body like wine. Getting better over time, your body like wine. Got me tipsy, baby. All about love like the 60s, baby. Getting lost in the moment, going this is crazy. Good girl, but with me, you've been misbehaving. Stacks in your bag, all them things you craving. You can get and go ahead. Help you unwind, get rid of that stress. I'm out of my mind, and you know what comes next. Here's to success. Life's like a movie. Lights, camera, action. Put your mind to it, live the life that you imagine. Life's like a movie. Lights, camera, action. Life's like a movie.
Good evening. Good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of High Top Sports. Woo! It's about that time that we cut them puppies loose.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go. Steve and Chad coming to you live. Boys and girls, happy to see you on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, my friend.
What is going on? It's a great day. It's a great day, boys and girls. I miss it. Wednesday's the best day of the week. Fired up.
For sure.
Welcome to the stream, boys and girls. I see you in here, rowdy, ready to rock and roll. I got to say hey to you guys because it's been a while. I feel like the last few times we've had guests on, so we haven't had the opportunity to say hey. So I'm going to say hey. We got a jam-packed show. We're going to talk about the possible four-star, who it is, what's going to be happening. Kelby Collins coming off the edge, just okay? Got that dog in him.
Oh, get him.
Dog in him. You know what I'm saying? Stacey Gage, talk about him. Obviously, we landed in his top 8, I believe, so good stuff for us there. We're going to talk about with Stacey Gage just the future of 2024 and how it's looking thus far. And can Billy, what does Billy got to do for 2024 class? Where will we as Florida fans be happy with? Okay. Talk about John Campbell a little bit, and then who's just an offensive tackle from Miami who has entered into the portal. He mentioned his Final Four or Final Five, I believe. The coaches grade finally came out after all things been said and done. We're going to talk about a few coaches, including Billy. Where does he stand? Jim Harbaugh, is he gone? I believe he is, and I mentioned Ryan Day leaving as well too. That was me kind of making a massive hot take, but I think why Jim Harbaugh is leaving, there could be some connection. And then obviously we got to talk about it, the national championship game on Monday. Who do we got? Why do we got them? Who are we going for from a logistics standpoint? And who are we going from an emotional standpoint? It's going to be a jam-packed show, so buckle up, sit tight, grab some popcorn, grab a beer. Let's have a good old show there, big dog. You ready to rock?
I'm ready to rock. I've already got my beer. I will skip the popcorn for the evening, but at least half of your requests have been granted.
Fired up, baby. Fired up. We got Scott in here. James Lyons, what's going on? Demetrius, TK Gator Nation, JR, Turd Ferguson, big dog, CC, Alex Compton. What up, big dog? JT, Adam Creel. Welcome to the stream, boys and girls. Jonathan Mays, Adam Creel. Not so Dexter, how we doing? Duddies, what's up, big guy? How we doing? Welcome to the stream. You've called in before. Money Green, Mike Litteris, Mike Lowry. You know what I'm saying? Ed DePriest.
Litteris on fire all the time.
He needs to change his name. I told him he needs to change it. Chris Sorley, Piss Missiles, 45, eh? How we doing, big dog? Dominic, what's going on, big dog? He's been quiet since he lost in fantasy football. Speaking of.
It was strangely quiet, yeah.
Yeah, Brandon Curry, our Gators look good this weekend. They sure did. I feel like they dominated the Under Armour game. So good stuff there. Happy to see that. Love seeing that, actually. What else do we got here? TK, I already said hey to you. Boys and girls, CC. Luke Duke, what up, baby? All right, I think that's about everybody thus far. I see Jordan Cunningham, Kirsten, Phillip. How we doing, boys and girls? Welcome to the stream. Johnny, Ice. All right, boys, let's go. Andrew Apple, what's going on, fam? How we doing? Welcome to the stream. Make sure you drop a like, boys. Subscribe if we're brand new here. We're still humming at 10K. We didn't get it by the end of the year, but we got to keep moving. We got to keep it rocking and rolling.
How about them Gators?
And let's get it, baby. Let's get it, baby. Caden Jones looks like he's been essentially crystal balled. I haven't really heard that terminology anymore. Thank God. I hate that. I feel like I've got PTSD anytime I hear that anymore. But it looks like he's been eyeing us the entire time. He says he's prayed on it. He's ready to rock and roll. I believe he's making his announcement this Sunday after the All-American game. So it looks like Florida is a good shoo-in. Again, just another piece to add to that offensive line. We lost a lot, obviously, in the transfer portal and also to the NFL draft. Again, I have been preaching this, and I will continue to preach it until I feel like we can land some big 5-star studs, because I saw a clip from Samson Pancake King just absolutely just maul this young man from the All-American weekend. I mean, he just picked this man up and just twisted him up like a pretzel. I was like, my goodness. Like, just stood his ground. I go, and that's why you've got all 5 stars, sir, okay?
You've ate your way to all 5.
Oh yeah, he sure did. Yeah, guy's a beast. So look, I think adding the Caden Jones guy, and here's a big thing that I keep talking about as well too, and I'm gonna keep beating this till I'm blue in the face until I'm proven wrong. I truly believe that the character matters to Billy. Caden Jones seems like a great kid, right? Obviously, with just kind of his mindset, how he's like, hey, I've talked with the family, we've prayed on it, really kind of dialed in and hungry, ready to rock and roll, but. With the kids that we've interviewed thus far, and I interviewed Cameron Jackson just last night. Obviously, he's coming in from Memphis, Tennessee. Just seems like a great kid, hungry, ready to rock and roll. When I asked him, hey, what was it? He's like, I want to get the Gators back to the Gator standard. I want to come win a Natty. I want to become the veteran in that locker room. And again, it's just easy for them to say, hey, it's about money, it's about this. No, it wasn't about that. It's like, I want to come in, I want to be part of a great culture and a great team. And it feels like Billy just keeps going after those kind of guys. Does it going to pay off? I think it will. I think we proved this weekend at the Under Armour game that, look, our guys balled out. Like, absolutely balled out. Like, it wasn't even a question. Kelby Collins won, and that's kind of where the next part is. Kelby Collins won MVP for the speed team, I believe he was on. Phantom won 14-7 from what I saw. But Kelby Collins won from the speed team and absolutely just looked like a complete animal. And I remember speaking with Connor Clark, and he said Kelby Collins is going to be probably more than likely the biggest factor coming out of this class. I believe he is the number 1 or maybe number 2 now behind Jaden, because Jaden got his 5th star, but he has and was the number 1 recruit for 2023 the entire time. So he just looked like a grown man amongst boys out there. He even says, I'm coming to take spots. I wouldn't put it past the fact that he's going to be in the starting lineup. I would be shocked if he wasn't a starter come at the beginning of the season. Now, not necessarily shocked. I think that D-line, especially with the additions in the portal, is going to be thick and heavy, but I 100% see Kelby earning some healthy reps going into next season, which I'm excited for. I love. And again, I think that speaks volume too. That average class being at a 92.4 or whatever it is, there's a reason why that average class, we're 5th overall in average rating. Again, which it gets overlooked when we keep dropping down in the rankings. We're like 13th now overall, so I get it. Caden Jones is going to help with that a little bit, but I'm excited for this class. They looked phenomenal. Did you get a chance to see the game or see any highlights, Steve?
I did see a couple of highlights, and the one thing I do want to say about Caden Jones is he's from Louisiana, obviously, which is where Billy was coaching prior to coming to Gainesville. So I have a sneaking suspicion that Billy has been involved in this kid's recruitment for quite some time. Not to mention he's also a big body kid. I mean, you're talking 6'8", 325, and he's still growing. I mean, if the kid's got the feet to play on the outside for a true tackle, I mean, that could be an Alabama style NFL prospect coming off the offensive line for you guys there. So that's a big get, especially considering, like you said, some of the losses that you've had, some of the transfer portal and some of the NFL guys that are leaving. But look, the prospects for Florida played extremely well in that game. I didn't see the whole game. I just saw some YouTube clips, but it's certainly encouraging if you're a Florida fan to see those guys go out there against the talent that they're playing against, play the way that they did, especially to your point, Kelby Collins. And look, that guy had a lot of noise when it came to his recruitment with Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, all up there. So when you've got that many those coaches knocking on the door and you're able to pull that kid in, you know that you're getting somebody that's ready to play at a high level.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. I'm trying to do the calculator, but 2024, it won't let me go back to 2023 to see if we add Caden Jones, where that's going to put us. I don't think it's going to be massive jumps. We may jump ahead of Texas A&M, but it wouldn't be anything crazy. But yeah, look, speaking about the kids for 2023 that are playing at the All-American game, again, Kelby Collins, to me, has been the staple thus far for the past 3 days, or the past 4 days or 3 days that they were there in Orlando, made a huge statement. Right, again, winning the MVP from a defensive side of things. I believe he had 2 sacks, which is great because those guys don't play the entire time either.
Right.
Jakeem Jackson made some noise. Will Norman made some noise. Jaden Rashada had made some noise on day 1 and day 2. Didn't look the greatest in the game. He had some moments, but he didn't string a lot of great passes together. The kid Arnold I think he's committed to Oklahoma, 5-star quarterback, looked like an absolute tank out there in comparison. I think that's kind of when you're going up against other 5-stars like that, it's easy to really see the difference of talent very quickly when somebody comes in. Now, and they talked about it last night too during the game. I watched a little bit towards the end where the offense has to struggle a little bit, right? Because defense is more reactive. It's more based on athleticism, where you can kind of go out there, your position. It's like, hey, just guard this guy, right? You play this zone, etc. Yeah, it's more kind of based on that personnel and how great they are as a kid. And again, all these kids are athletes if they're at this game. Where the offense, the schemes, they don't have much time to get these schemes dialed in, and that's why the offense is usually pretty lackluster of a performance. Dylan Edwards, the running back committed to Colorado. My goodness, guy looks like he's shooting out of a cannon. I believe he did win the fastest player from this weekend. The kid's quick. The kid is quick. And we talked about what Coach Prime's doing out there in Colorado. I don't want to go too far because I know how you Florida fans start ripping my head off because of it. But he looked really good as well too. So it was fun to watch that game. I was to go back and see the highlights and the clips again, and just kind of seeing a taste of what 2023 is going to look like. Again, Najee Harris played in that game. Aiden Mazzell did not, probably more likely due to injury. But Eugene Wilson is also getting a lot of love, a lot of shout-outs, looking like being compared to the next Percy Harvin. The guy is just an athletic freak. I saw a clip where he was playing DB and just flew in the air like a majestic animal and just snatched it like a crow out of the air. So, yeah, so that was close enough. Like a bald eagle, just
You get it.
You get what I'm putting down. So good to see. Glad to see what the class is looking like, and I'm fired up for the 2023. I've been fired up the entire time. The hate for him has been unreal. Not the hate, but we as Florida fans have been a little displeased with how the class finished. But the class that is coming in is just a great group of kids. Jordan Castle, again, he's got a lot of love and just his ability, what he's been able to do with his size. I believe they've got him listed as a linebacker, but I'm pretty sure he's a safety. So there's a lot of good. A lot of good came out of this weekend, and I think with this weekend and how the season ended in a sense of where we ended for recruiting, for this for them to have this great weekend at Under Armour weekend speaks volumes to, again, with the kids that Billy's bringing in and what we can expect for next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, to your point, Billy does care about character, and it looks like there was a mass exodus of guys that hit the portal for Florida, and does it feel like it hurts the roster because you're losing a lot of depth, you're losing a lot of players? Probably, yeah. It's going to take a little while to recover from that. However, I do strongly believe that if they're not buying into Billy's culture, that Billy doesn't want him there. He doesn't want him in the locker room. The coaches can't be on top of these kids 100% of the time. And as soon as you turn your back, if these guys are just undermining you and your message is being questioned, and even the program and the direction that they want to go isn't, and everybody's not on board, you start to see those cracks. Just get them out. Just get rid of them. Get them out of here. Start fresh. It doesn't matter what you need to do. Get your guys in there who believe in you, believe in your system, and keep the guys that are willing to buy in, even though you're first-year coach, you're going into your second year. Get rid of the people that aren't willing to do the things like toe the line, continue your message, be a part of the transition and the change as opposed to resisting it. If they can't change, then you're not helping, you're hurting.
I was actually talking with Ted today about Georgia football because he's a big Georgia fan, and just kind of the culture that Kirby has created. Will Muschamp is obviously there. There's some clips from the SEC championship game against LSU where, there's been other clips too, but where Kirby's just ripping into these guys. You kind of hear him where he's cussing. He's like, let's fucking go get it. Let's build that dog in him. And we also mentioned, we talked about this as well, not many guys have left Georgia. Not too many guys have entered into the portal. Now, obviously, a lot of that has to do with them playing in the championship game, right? We've seen more guys now from Ohio State enter into the portal after their playoff game, so we could see a few leave, right? That's still up for grabs. But the reason I bring this up because the culture that he has built there is incredible at Georgia. People go to play for Georgia for the G on their helmet, not for the names on their back. And something like that takes time. It takes a couple years to build that, and that's, I believe, what Billy is trying to do. I can't say he's doing it yet because it's going to take time. I can't say it's locked and loaded, but he's 100% trying to do that. And the kids that he's bringing in, you know, they praise that. They represent that already. You can see that and feel that. With each kid that we've spoken to, with each kid that's been outspoken on Twitter, you feel it. They're not about the money. Even, who was it? He called out Kermani McClain. Oh, Sharif Denson from Bartram Trail. Yeah. He called out Kermani McClain in the sense of like, yeah, I'm not quite sure what he's doing. You know what I mean? I feel like he is like, he kind of said he's chasing the money a little bit, and he might find himself all caught up. But he's like, look, we're not going to play for Miami where it's just a money bag situation. I want to go play for a team that's bigger than myself. And I mean, he simply called that out himself. When you get these kids, and again, it's kind of funny now because these kids are being more involved because they're doing more interviews with them now. They want to build a personal brand, and they're kids, and kids say the darndest things. And when you put them in front of a camera, I mean, what do they got to lose? If they go out there and take a shot, and you know they're speaking nothing but the truth because they've got nothing else to say, and it comes off just kind of raw. It's been fun to watch. Again, no knock on Miami. This again, I'm not trying to talk shit here because Miami, in a sense, has still done a great job recruiting. Now, will it translate? That's another conversation for another day. But I think that's where
actually we'll talk about it today. we
got
some coaching grades coming up.
Yeah, we'll get into that, and we can get into John Ruiz as well here in a little bit. But yeah, look, I'm really excited for the class and what's to come. It looks really good. I'm excited for 2024, though. I'm really excited to kind of close this chapter of the book. I know if we can land Katie Jones, that'd be great to end the 2023 season, especially how this Under Armour game went. But I am beyond stoked for 2024, and that's kind of where our next topic leads us into, which is Stacey Gage, 5-star running back. I spoke with DJ Lagway in our interview, which was a phenomenal interview. If you guys are here and have not seen that interview, leave and go watch that interview because it's that good. An incredible young man with a great head on his shoulders. But I talked to him about Stacey Gage because Stacey tweeted at him, hey, it's wherever you go, big brother, I'm following. And I'm like, well, I mean, if you say something, you know, say, like, what's up? So he released his top 8, which we did end up in it. I don't know if Colorado ended up. I want to say they did. I believe they did.
Of course.
I believe Colorado is in his top 8 as well, and I've talked about that in a couple of Dion videos where, look, I feel like a lot of kids are going to pick, you'd be dumb not to pick Colorado in your top whatever right now because it's just, why not, right? So I like Stacey Gage for us, but again, the kid's a stud, right? I'm sure Miami's going to be in his ear for a bag. Actually, let's see what his top 8 is.
It is. Here, I got it right here.
Okay, thank you.
It's Florida, Penn State,
Penn State. That's a weird one.
Oklahoma, Ohio State, Alabama, USC, go Tulane, Colorado, you called that one, and Miami.
All right, so here's my look. I feel like Oklahoma doesn't really intimidate me, but they did have a great recruiting class, but I'm not too concerned with them. USC, I don't know about that one. I feel like, I mean, look, Lincoln Riley's out there doing a great job, but and it is an explosive offense, but to me, it feels like it's more of a high-flying offense. It wouldn't really complement Stacey Gage. I could be wrong here, but I feel like it wouldn't. It doesn't fit his style. He's a big running back. Where I feel like an Alabama scares me. Alabama being on that list scares the living shit out of me.
Yeah, it should. It should scare everybody. Any recruit that you're after that you really,
especially a big tank of a running back. Yeah. Yes,
yeah, because they've never produced those.
One or two. So look, with him, you know, having those, I mean, that's a stud lineup. There's a lot of great schools that are really competitive. I feel good about Florida. Again, Miami being in there scares me too as well, but because of what they've been able to do on the offensive line. But there isn't a quarterback. This is one thing we haven't really mentioned, is they don't have a quarterback for 2023 class. Or no, because both of them decommitted, I believe. There was Jaden Rashad and there was another one. The other one decommitted before Jaden did, and then Jaden decommitted. Can you fact check that? And I don't think they've got anything for 24 yet. So it's kind of funny because they have a phenomenal offensive line they've recruited, and they've got Mark Fletcher as a running back, so great pickup there. But outside of that, I mean, we got Tyler Van Dyke, and again,
who had an amazing season.
I feel like we keep over who's going to throw the football? Who are they blocking for? You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be interesting. But look, Florida has been finding themselves on some studs, okay, and for top players, I want to say they are on another safety. I can't think of his name right now. I gotta learn a whole new slew of recruits here for this next year. to get off the top of my head. I've got the list here.
They
Charles
do have
Lester.
a quarterback to recruit, by the way.
What's a
Emory
star?
Williams, 3-star from
Yeah, that
Milton,
doesn't count.
Florida.
That doesn't count. Stop
No,
it. That doesn't count.
It's not the guy that's going to take the
they take the reins. Elite 24 quarterback Charles Lester. He's like 6, I believe, or 6th quarterback in the country and 26 overall. So I want to say he's a 5-star. We landed in his top 5 as well. So look, we're making some moves quickly in the 2024. Eliza Rushing seems like a shoe-in. We've got 100% right now in 247. So I'm ready to get to 2024 because I know last year was when we really got this ball going was 2023. Things started moving. It was really fun to watch. It was exciting. Obviously, the orange and blue game was exciting, but talking season is just that. We get to talk about the recruits and what's to come, but we won't really have much to talk about until the guys show up for camp. So I'm hoping some of these guys commit early. It feels like a lot of them are for them to release their top 5 and top 4 because these top players know that to recruit a great class, they need to get in as soon as possible so other recruits can see, okay, I see what's happening here. And for us to be landing in these top recruits early, again, I'm going off of what I watched last year. I felt like Billy was behind the 8 ball. Even in 2023, he was behind the 8 ball because he was wrapping up 2022 and trying to start 2023 all at the same time. And I felt like when we came in, half the guys were already committed for 2023. You know what I mean? And he was trying to pick up the pieces afterwards. So he's in it right now at the right time. We were getting our big commits just a little bit too late into the season. If we can land, we've already landed a few now. If we can land 2 or 3 a month going into June and July and then into visiting season, if we can have way more for game 1 already committed and then have a slew come in to visit, that's what's going to be the difference between 2024 and 2023.
Yeah, look, I would be willing to say at this point, based off what we saw in this last recruiting cycle, that the recruiting efforts are almost, I want to say 80% the coaches, maybe 70% the coaches, and 30% the players that are committed. The players turn out to be a bigger a recruiting factor a lot of times than some of the coaches. The coaches are on the road, they're practicing, they have limitations on when they can contact, what type of contact they can have. Dude, the players are all over social media and they're pulling each other from place to place to place. Look, if you can get a good couple of guys, good solid guys that you know are locked in and they are high level, big personalities, guys that are willing to go out there and be kind of a face of the next class, they can be sometimes your ace in the hole. And that, look, they can't win the moms. You know, the coaches have to win the moms and dads, right? That's where, you know, coming in and sitting down and having dinner and that in-home visit matters a ton. But these kids, and they can be easily pressured, especially if you've got a couple of guys who are big time, with their personalities and know what they're trying to accomplish. So you get a couple of those guys early on, and yeah, you're 100% right. It changes the whole dynamic for what the coaching staff is up against when it comes to trying to get some of these big guys to make their pledge.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that's going to be, again, the headstone for that class. So DJ Lagway is a massive one. Stacey Gage would be a huge one. Elijah Rushing, who's a top 20 player, would be even a bigger one. So the quicker these guys get in, the more comfortable I'll feel for that 2024 class. It's got to be top 10 without a shadow of a doubt for the – look, Billy's not going anywhere year 2, no matter what the outcome is, unless it's like a 0-12 season. But I don't see him going anywhere. I really don't. I think 3 years is a minimum for sure. But I also think some things have to go the right way for that 3rd year to not just be like a fill-in and an actual possibility for things to turn on the right direction. And then this class is going to be a huge one. I don't want to get into talking about the season just yet because it's way too soon. So I could find myself going down a little bit of a rabbit hole here. But John Campbell, offensive tackle, he played 5 seasons at Miami. He has entered into the portal, and he's down to 5 schools. I want to say it's Tennessee, Florida, FSU, and USC, I believe. That's 4. Maybe there's one more, and I can't think of who it is. But he's set to visit this weekend. Cameron Jackson is also there this weekend, so great. Another transfer guy is going to be there at the same time as him. I wouldn't be surprised if Tejada Mitchell. Tejada. I believe I got it right. I looked some videos up last night. Tejada. It's Tejada.
Tejada. Okay.
Tejada, yeah. I believe he should be there this weekend as well, too. So, again, more depth in the O-line, which we need. You guys are preaching it in the chat. We need it. We 100% need to get it done. So we'll see. Real quick, though, we got a super chat from Mr. Nobody. $5 is what's the difference between the high school all-star game, American Bowl this weekend versus the Under Armour game? I'm not quite sure, but I looked it up really quick while we were sitting here, and it says, why would a player choose one over the other? And it goes, the biggest difference is one is a 3-hour ad for Under Armour while the other one's a 3-hour ad for the Army.
That's really it.
Yeah,
the Army game used to be the only one. Under Armour came in about maybe half a decade ago and started making their game. Look, these kids have to be invited to play that game, and it really just kind of boils down on which one they want to play. There's really no difference at all. They're an invite only football game. And if you get invited,
I would imagine what players are going where. Like obviously, like it seems like all the Florida players went to one game. I'd imagine you would go to where your team is going. And if you feel like, hey, like that kid's better than me, I'm probably not going to start. Let's go to this game because I feel like I have a better opportunity. So it probably just gives these kids more opportunities for them to showcase their talent because you've got a top 100 players. They're not all going to go to one game. It kind of works itself out to where you can kind of see the best of both worlds.
Yeah, for sure. There's really no difference at all. It's just a matter of where you want to. If you get invited to both, which one you pick is really all it boils down to. But they also get, if they want and they go there, they also get a platform to make a pretty public commitment. Because we've always seen those like during the game. You got a player that comes off the field because they rotate him so much during the game, so everybody gets a shot. Well, you have a player come off and. During, a commercial break, it'll come back and it'll have a player who has an opportunity on national television to make his commitment. So it just gives these kids a platform. Not that they need it as much now as they needed it before.
Sure.
Because they can do so much more now. But back then, before they had the freedom
social media,
kind of what they're doing. Yeah.
This was kind of their moment.
Really that was their shot, yeah. And they did some pretty fancy commitments. I mean, there were some big-time commitments. Like, I want to say even Dalvin Cook. I'm trying to think of maybe just a couple Julio Jones was a big one that I remember committing at one of those games. But again,
last year, they did it last year, too. I want to say, was it Perkins, right? Harold Perkins decommitted during that game, and Trevor Etienne committed after that game.
He did.
One of those two games.
Etienne was one of the guys that definitely committed during that game. So that's really what it's all about. Yeah. Giving them a chance to showcase.
But now I think this year's going to be different because nobody committed at the last game. It's now just if they haven't committed yet, I disregard because Kaden Jones will be committing after that game. So, but nobody committed at this game. Most of those guys were committed that one here today, except Kermani. Which was a fun interview. But real quick, I want to talk about this really, really fast before we go back. This is a pop-up topic. But John Ruiz, there allegedly, in case you guys want to come railroad me here in a minute, it looks like there is some news coming out where this guy, Aaron Cohn, I believe is the way his name is pronounced, is a lawyer, and basically tweeted at John telling him to fuck off. Well, it looks like he's calling John Ruiz out because it looks like allegedly that John Ruiz created a burner account to talk shit to Ari in support of John Ruiz. Ari tweets out, "How many sock puppets are you going to make, John? A, I'm not in Florida. B, my tweets were not within the course of representing a client. I can tell you to go fuck yourself all I want." And then he subtweets his tweet, and it basically the guy Z Gator, the fake account, has two tweets. All time, and it's both in response to, I guess, their Twitter battle between Ari and John Ruiz, and it's a copy of John Ruiz's tweet, basically like saying like, "Hey, you're not allowed to make fun of me because you're another lawyer," basically. So John Ruiz, the Miami Hurricanes sugar daddy, is an absolute hoot of a human being. Okay, the man has framed tweets behind him. I want to get a tweet of myself and just frame it back there in honor of John, but the guy is an absolute just. These lawyers involved with all this it's absolutely insane. I don't know if it's just you hand all these guys a lot of money and they know what to do with it, but it's crazy. It's like watching kids on YouTube. Like what are we doing here, dude? It's hilarious. I'm here for it.
My gosh, maybe they want to have like a indoor on your knee football game. I think we had some kids on here that did that a little while back. I mean, that's what it seems like right now at this point is just a digital slap fight between guys who make a ton of money and probably have nothing else to do with their time. Gosh, John Ruiz.
It's a blast. Hey, George, really quick. George has been here, I feel like, forever. He always voices his opinion, which I love. because he doesn't hold anything back.
No.
He just kind of says however
he's not holding it back tonight either. George, welcome in.
No, but I do. Where he kind of made his name last year was just he would hop in and just say beat Utah. Like that was his thing.
That was it.
And he was consistent. And we beat Utah. He kind of dropped the ball the rest of the year. Gonna be honest, George, calling you out here. But I do want to say it's never too early to start, and I feel like each video needs to start with beating Utah again so we can have as much juice. So I'm putting that on to you, George. You make up your mind on what you feel comfortable with, but that's kind of where I stand on that, George. Thank you for your support and love as always.
There's a shout out, George. Look, you're officially internet famous, George. Go get your kids. Go get the kids, the wife.
George has his own channel. Go show him some love.
Exactly.
All right, coaches' grades. So the coaches' grades came out from ESPN after the entire season. We're gonna go over a few. Let's start with who do we want to start with? Not Billy just yet. Don't blow our load in one. Let's do Brian Kelly. Let's do sex scandal Brian Kelly. Sorry.
Let's go. No, you're good. So look, there were a couple of first-year coaches that actually did really well, right? Sonny Dykes at TCU got an A. Let's see, the guy out in Washington got an A. And then Lincoln Riley at USC, go Tulane, got an A-. But let's go down to Brian Kelly, sex scandal, Destiny. Wanted to get some
allegedly.
Allegedly.
Booty. See, you did it again. You did it again.
Brian Kelly gets a B+. B+ by ESPN. He was an A- grade when he was hired. Not sure why anybody would hate that hire. I think he was obviously doing very well at Notre Dame. But mid-season grade, he was down to a B-. Obviously, the FSU game had a little influence on that. But then by the end of the season, he's in the SEC championship. I think all things considered, Brian Kelly, a B+. I wouldn't argue with that.
So they get blown out by Georgia. And what was the big game they lost? What was the important game they lost before that? Who did they lose to? Texas A&M, right? Yeah, they lost to Texas A&M.
They did,
to
yeah,
a bad.
Texas A&M.
So to me, that really kind of hurt your score because, again, I understand why, because you still had a great season. You ended up in the SEC championship. So I feel like that's the reason why for the high score. But I would put it back to a B-, C+, because I feel like you had the playoffs. I mean, they ended up losing the SEC championship game, but at that point it felt almost depleted. But I felt like the season was in your hand and you gave it away by losing that Texas A&M game. I could be a little bit harsh, but I feel like the B+, it just feels a little scandalous. I feel like it's a little high. It should almost be like a B-, C+ grade for me. That's kind of where I put Brian Kelly because I think it was a great season. I think they did a phenomenal job in a tough schedule. They beat Bama, a lot of great things. I think losing that game, though, they're not taking enough points off of it as they should.
Look, that's definitely a tarnish on the season. If they win that game, they were potentially in conversation for being in the playoffs. Now, the one thing I will say in support of Brian Kelly, and I really just personally don't like the guy all that much. Never met him, but just from what you see. But LSU's 2021 record was 6-7. They're 10-4 this year, and they had a pretty impressive bowl game. They also did this with, Jaden Daniels, who is a transfer quarterback. Guy's very athletic, but sometimes, it takes a little while for a quarterback to make the transition into a new offense. And you could see that from game 1 against FSU, where he looked horrible for 3.5 quarters to, the end of the season. Granted, the Texas A&M loss should be a huge blemish on the resume, but I can kind of understand the B+ if you look at what he got when he showed up in Baton Rouge, aside from a fake Cajun accent, and what he did with the team, especially coming off of a really, really slow start. So I kind of agree with ESPN on this one. You're saying it's a C+, B-?
C+, B-. Yeah, I don't think I think the B+ is a little. I mean, C+ is only because I hate the guy. B- is probably more of a realistic score.
Okay,
I take
fair
2
enough.
points up. Yeah.
All right, yeah. So C+ for you. I'll go B because I'm taking the plus away because I don't like the guy either, not whatsoever. All right, let's go out to the Midwest. We have Brent Venables, the pride of the Cheez It Bowl. Look, ESPN gave him a B+ on the hire.
Okay.
Yeah, which is the lowest grade of any of the coaches that we're going to talk about, unless we grab a couple more. B+ on the hire, and then by mid-season they had him down to a D+. If I'm not mistaken, Oklahoma went on they started out hot, and then they went on like a 5-game. They finished the season like losing 5 games or something crazy. They got blown out by Texas. They're giving him an overall grade of D+ to finish the season with a record of 6-7.
Look, I think that's a perfect grade. You could almost give them. Look, you got Lincoln Riley kind of stripped that entire organization, but you lost a lot of embarrassing games, worse than Billy in my opinion. That's what I'm going to get into in a minute, where like they looked worse in an easier conference, and I feel like what saved or even gave them an opportunity was they played well against FSU, who had a great season and it was a great game. I mean, you allowed a 6-6 Oklahoma kind of put it to you, but again, it's a big game, so anybody can play up to it. But you landed them in a pretty big game, because that's a big game for FSU. You were pretty fired up about it. To throw a 6-6 team in there made no sense to me. It should have been you guys in Oregon State, and we should have played Oklahoma. Like I will never understand how if you're gonna we finished 6-6. We are playing in a low end bowl game, but you put 15th ranked Oregon State. I would be hot if I'm Oregon State. And then you give Oklahoma.
I think our bowl games actually mimicked each other, right? I mean, so you guys were.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing.
6-16, it's the exact same thing. You just flipped.
You got a better bowl game. You got a better bowl game, so it was more for FSU. But it upgraded Oklahoma, but Oregon State it downgraded them. When we were playing in the bowl game, we should have been playing in, right? You guys are playing in the bowl game, you should have been playing in. Oklahoma got a upgrade, Oregon got a downgrade. So I feel like Oklahoma got a little bit of love there because they were able to play in a pretty primetime game in the middle of the bowl week and play considerably well, which is obviously I think helping his grade here, in my opinion.
Yeah, look, they did play very well. And look, the one thing I will say is, Oklahoma had a lot of guys not play that game. They had 2 of their offensive linemen that opted out. They had their starting running back that opted out, a couple of defensive players that opted out. But at the same time, if you look at what FSU has done from a recruiting standpoint over the last couple of years, and obviously because of our record, we haven't been able to put talent on our sideline the way that Oklahoma has. Oklahoma has been cleaning up in recruiting. They've been in the top 5, top 10. So even with those guys gone, the talent behind them is very, very good. I just felt like, look, FSU was having a really, really good year offensively. I knew if you and I, if we would have talked, if we were smart, we would have got together. We would have hopped on my bookie. We would have thrown in the high top and got some extra credit, and we would have taken the over on that game because there was no shot that either defense had a chance at stopping either one of those offenses. So yeah, hell of a game. Don't get me wrong, and I'm amazed at the fact that they came out and played the way they did. Now, the one thing I will say for Venables, they went on their first 3-game losing streak since like the 80s or like the maybe early 90s or something like that. So that hurts, right? And they just didn't finish the season very strong. And this is when they had all those guys. And then, they went from a record of 11-2, and the cupboard wasn't bare when Venables got there. To a 6-7 season if you count the bowl game. So that's a pretty big drop in the overall amount. Yeah. So look, he was given a B+ at the hire. He is the lowest rated grade when hired.
Initial grade. Yeah.
Because he had no coaching experience. I mean, he had no head coaching experience. He was the defensive coordinator at Clemson, but he had never been a head coach. So that's a little suspect if you're asking me to take over that level of a team. His midseason grade was a D+, and they left him at a D+ overall. I don't disagree with that. I think that's pretty solid. For
sure. Let's do 2 more because, I mean, Lincoln Riley, I agree with. And so, I mean, those aren't really controversial. Same thing with Sonny Dykes. So let's talk about Marcus Freeman. This one's a good one. It's an interesting one. I kind of went back and forth on it because he started at A-. Midseason grade was at D+ because they were 0-3, I believe, losing to Marshall. Yep. I was like, my goodness. Brian Kelly left at the perfect time. I mean, that guy knows how to hold him and know when to fold him because, my goodness, he got out of there quick.
He got out of there right.
And then they figured it out, come steamrolling Clemson, undefeated Clemson, mind you, and end up going 9-4 and winning their bowl game against a pretty hot South Carolina team with Rattler and Shane Beamer, which hurt for the SEC, but I hate South Carolina and Spencer Rattler, so I didn't hate it too much. Now that Brian Kelly isn't at Notre Dame anymore, my hate for Notre Dame is kind of fizzled out.
It subsides a little bit, right? Because you don't have that guy screaming and spitting on the sideline. And look, the other thing for Notre Dame, which I think we've kind of lost it a little bit in talking about some, our own teams and some other transfers and high school recruits that are still out there. Notre Dame picked up Sam Hartman. That's where he landed. So
is it official?
It looks like
I haven't seen it official. I saw that. That they were looking at him, but I wasn't sure that it was official yet. But it seems like it's a shoe-in. I don't think it's. Right. It seems like a shoe-in, yeah. But I think this is a great grade. I initially when the hire happened, it felt like the team was really bought in. It felt like a very culture hire in the sense of like they love this guy, right? They loved that when he got hired. I remember watching the video of him being hired. So I believe that him being for you're 0-3 to flip that around and to win the games they did. That's huge. You can almost give him an A, honestly.
For the recovery, it's odd. The hire was an A-, midseason grade D+, but they didn't know what was to come. The way that he turned that team around and the way that they played an 0-3 football team with a brand new head coach that again has never had any head coaching experience can lose a team in a heartbeat. The fact that he was able to keep them together and do what he did throughout the season. I'm with you. I would bump it up to at least a B+, coming off the beginning of the season. You can't lose to Marshall and get an A at the end of the day is how I look at that.
Fair enough. I think if you had to, but if you can't give a comeback coach award to a coach that didn't coach, but if award existed, he won comeback coach of the year in the middle of the year. And I think that's again, that speaks volumes to you as a coach, to the culture that you were able to put together. Him being there prior to that obviously helps with that, but I think that speaks volumes. And I think they're not going to be on the radar for next year, but they should be. They should.
Agreed.
Everyone should be a little nervous to see what old Notre Dame could do. So, last one obviously is old Billy Ballsack here. Came in with an A-. Mid-season was, I'm trying to get to him.
C-,
and then he ended up with a D+. Brutal. I'll let you go first.
Yeah, look, I mean, I don't know if the A- was a grade I would have given Billy on the hire. I would have given him a lower grade coming in, just because he was coming from a smaller school. I know he had a good background and lineage with the coaching experience that he had from other schools coming in. He really did have a great background before he took the job out in Louisiana. But again, it's Florida. It's the University of Florida. It's the Florida Gators that you're getting this job. I didn't feel like he had the coaching experience or the coaching resume to take that job. That's a really, really big step and almost a little bit of a reach in a little bit of desperate times for Florida, because I know that there were some other candidates that maybe just didn't pan out. But I wouldn't say that the A- was the right grade for the hire. I would say it's probably in the B range, right? The C- grade mid-season, I could see that. You had the Utah win. The Kentucky loss, that hurt. I don't know if the LSU game factored into that. But look, there was a lot of promise, and then there was a lot of what the hell is going on here. The defense has got to get fixed. I can understand where some of the slide went from the midseason grade from a C- to a D+. But look, they played FSU strong. They kept strong with Georgia for 3 quarters. I mean, that game got down to a 10-point game, a 3-point game at one point. So look, there's a lot of positives with what Billy did. Obviously, roster management matters, and what he does with this recruiting cycle is going to have a big impact. I don't think a D+ as a final grade is exactly fair. I'd give it more of a C-, all things considered.
It's funny. Aaron Jordan just said the same thing. He says C- is fair. Look, I might be a little more harsh on this because as you were going through it, again, the 2 highlights for Florida football this year was Utah and the fact that we almost won a lot of games. That was the highlight. And I think with the wrap-up of the bowl game, that really kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. It was just the show. I wasn't expecting to win. I was expecting a better showing. The FSU game, I feel like, was, again, it's a bowl game. The energy really wasn't there. I get it. And the FSU is probably more of a good cap to really understand how the season ended up. D+, C, I mean, I feel happy with, I mean, I'm not happy, but I feel comfortable with a D+. I was going to say D. I was going to say D-, but and I'm usually the optimistic one here and positive about it. And I'm not trying to be negative, but it's just it was a tough record. I'm trying to put that into or a tough schedule. I'm trying to put that into consideration. But the loss of Vandy was tough. The performance against USF wasn't great. The performance against Kentucky wasn't great. If we go through the games, the performance for overall was Utah and then
Tennessee. I mean, you got an L in that, but that was a hell of a game. Then you guys balled out for a team that ended up being really good.
I agree.
Even without Hooker.
That one's a great game. But LSU, I feel like we just kind of we lost. Georgia, we tried to bring it back, and it was like sure, but it wasn't a good game. So look, yeah, I'm cool with D+, D-, or D+. Dave Prather says C+. Rob says that dude lost to Vandy, Z-. All right. Q says D. Mr. Nobody says Billy took the D.
Oh boy.
Look, I'm not trying to hate on. I'm not talking down. It is what it is. Like it's just a fact of the matter of like, hey, that's how it worked. Everybody loves a great comeback. You can go from a D+ and A- very quickly. So Aaron Joyner says 6-6 regular season is a C. Losing the bowl game, Bradley brings it into the C-. I don't hate it. I get it.
I mean, you had a lot of guys out. I mean, your quarterback wasn't there. You were under your third string quarterback at that point?
Yeah.
For the game?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, come on, guys.
B-. Yeah, but look, hey guys, can we see if we get to 100 likes before the show's over? Appreciate it. Thank you.
Why are we not there already?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
What the hell are y'all doing?
I mentioned this. It's funny because CC brought this up. I was going to talk about this and I was going to make a video about it, but I just didn't have the kahunas to get it done. The Big Ten seems like it's in a weird place. I talked about on the cast on Sunday where I feel Ryan Day could just be the next Mark Richt of Georgia. Where, yeah, he'll bring you 11-1, 10-2. It's like he's right there every year, but just can't get it done when it matters most. You're giving the man bowl games left and right, and they can't win them. He hasn't won. They haven't won since Urban. And I actually went back and looked at history. Who was before Urban? Sweater vest?
Well, yeah, there was Luke Fickell.
For a year.
Interim guy.
Before Fickell, though. Who was before Fickell?
Yeah, it was Tressel.
So Tressel, obviously, he had his run, and then it got to the point where it was like, okay, you've hit your peak here. Go to Fickell for a year, and then we get Urban Meyer, who comes in and does great things, I remember when Urban came in, they were like, oh, it's not really Urban's team, but if you think about it, I mean, it kind of was. And then Ryan Day steps in right after Urban Meyer and hasn't won anything since. So here's the reason what I'm saying that is like, look, Ohio State is never going to have trouble recruiting, ever. Doesn't matter who's a head coach. I really don't think they're ever going to struggle because they own that market. It's a monopoly up there. It's the Ohio State University. They have a phenomenal brand, a phenomenal culture, right? So that's always going to be building it. But when you've got a guy, the expectations to go 10-2, that's not acceptable in the Big Ten, especially when you're the Ohio State University. If you're Penn State, Nebraska, you'll be rejoiced. You'll be the American hero. But that's not acceptable at Ohio State. So I really think Ryan Day's got a timeline more than people realize. Like, you just falling short every year ain't gonna cut it, big dog. It's not like basketball where all you got to do is get to the dance. John Calipari has made a living off making it to the dance. You can go to the dance and be fine. That does not work in college football, especially if you're the Ohio State University in the Big Ten. So I think Ryan Day's time is short. And look, Harbaugh's in that same boat. Harbaugh has done a great job the last 7 years building up Michigan. But all that he has done is created Michigan to beat Ohio State. He's done that. In my opinion, he has peaked. He has hit all what he came there to do was take over the big brother position. But he's been so hyper focused on Ohio State that he forgot about once he gets to the playoff. Like, oh shit, I gotta be prepared. I gotta keep going, right? Because they can't get it done. Back-to-back years now. This was the year, and I was like, look, Michigan looks good. I think they're going to get it done. TCU, we all hated on it. I ragged on it. I'll be the first to say it. I said nobody's going to want TCU there. I still believe it, but they balled out. They closed me up. Phenomenal job to TCU there. Rolling Michigan, in my opinion. And I think
I don't know, man. Michigan was Michigan's own worst enemy in that game. Would they throw a pick six, a fumble? They had
a lot of crazy. You're right. They had a lot of crazy.
Come on.
Yeah, you're right. They had a lot of crazy.
I'm not taking the win away from TCU.
Sure.
I'm giving the win to TCU. But my God, if Michigan blew both of its feet off with a shotgun and said, "We can't win this race."
True. They had a lot of crazy things happen, like the fumble or not getting it fourth down, not getting on the goal line. Not getting the touchdown and then fumbling the next play. Crazy shit went down.
Fumbling the next play in the pick six. Like,
what was weird I remember last year we talked about Harbaugh. Harbaugh was shopping last year for the NFL. Do you remember? He wasn't out there recruiting. He wasn't doing anything. He was doing NFL interviews, and they still landed with the top 10 class. That just proves my point even more because people they just walk into Michigan. They go, yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, I just been growing. I've been watching Michigan my whole life. There's really nowhere else to go. So it's either this or Michigan State. And they beat people up in the tunnels, so I'm going to Michigan. And so he was already doing that. And now it's been confirmed that from 3 reliable sources, I can't remember their name, but if he was to be offered a NFL job, he's gone. There's a spot that I'm thinking, Denver Broncos, they just fired their head coach. You're saying Carolina, but whoever stepped in for Carolina, they've been kind of hooping. So I don't know, but you said earlier they've reached out to him, correct?
Yeah, Carolina is the first NFL team to acknowledge that they've had conversations with Harbaugh. I'm
He's
not
gone.
saying that other ones haven't, but I mean, the other thing to keep in mind is Harbaugh's a weirdo, right? But he was also an NFL coach one time.
Sure.
And he took the 49ers
to the
Super Bowl.
Lost his
They
brother.
lost. Yeah, he lost to the Ravens. You're right. The guy can have success. He's a very, very smart, intelligent football mind. And I would never take that away from Jim Harbaugh. He's just such a freaking weirdo. It's so hard to root for the guy because he's just such a nutcase.
I don't think. I think these coaches too. I mean, look, the college job is getting much harder with the portal and everything. And I don't think he's ever been a big fan of recruiting, simply because again he was in the NFL and he kind of took last year off anyways and had no issues with it. So who they go out and get, I don't know. Will they throw him a bag to keep him there? I'm sure. Look, I think he's done a great job building Michigan back to a great culture. But
they're back-to-back playoff teams. You can't. I mean, if you're Michigan, considering what they went through with the coach prior to them, they went on like a 10-year losing streak to Ohio State.
Yeah, they were nothing.
Mistaken.
So you put Michigan back to where it should be, but you can't get again. You're also the Mark Richt because you can't put them over the edge. You can't get it done in the big. Now they won the Big Ten, so I can't necessarily say that Mark Richt had a hard time winning the SEC championship. But I'm shitting on Mark Richt here, but
to Michigan's point, I mean, I think they've had a loss in the playoffs to Georgia. No, to TCU, and then they lost to Alabama.
They're 0-6 in the last 6 bowl/playoff games. 0-6. 0-6. Fact of the matter.
Yeah, that's trash.
Yeah, you can't have that. Super chat from Zachary Vega says, "Trust in Billy. The foundation has been laid. Gators can finally start building." And I love that comment. I couldn't agree more. And I think what we saw last night at the Under Armour game just shows like things are heading in the right direction. Is it going to translate immediately next season? I don't know. I'm going to be optimistic and say hell yeah, because that's where I'm at until proven otherwise. Because what's going to happen is we've got 9 months to forget about last year. Come next August, you best believe I'm going to be locked and loaded, bros. I'm ready to go now. I can't wait. I remember Friday Night Lights, like how this past year went, just the excitement. Like we were building the brand, we were meeting people. Like I can't wait to get back into that rhythm because right now, like this is where we're going to live for the next 4 or 5 months. It's right here.
It's right here.
Yeah, we got a lot of talking to do, which I love too. But I like getting out there, meeting the people, hanging out. We just broke 100 likes, so thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks, guys. The most exciting thing that could happen between now and kickoff of next season would be maybe we're getting some tickets to Utah. Maybe we're going ahead and booking a plane flight.
Oh, we're going to Utah.
Oh, we're going to Utah.
We're going to Utah. Positive momentum. Fishing football says 1-6. That's quite the opposite of positive there, Fishing. Hey, good to see you, though, Bubba. Imagine the excitement if we could have got Sam Hartman. Look, I think if we believe in Billy, he made the decision for a reason. I truly believe that, and I think there's more to it that we've got to just. There's a reason why we're not on the sidelines coaching, boys. Okay, it's a reason why we're here tonight, hanging out in the chat. And talking about it, not actually doing it. Let's get into the last topic here before we go. Thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. Get on the rocket ship. Absolutely. I've been ready. I'm hoping we can have some good closes here where I can hop on this damn thing. And 2024, I hope to be humping that spaceship a lot. So
I can never get that out of my mind.
TCU, this is a tough one here because I know a lot of you guys were on Twitter this past week when they were playing against Ohio State. I said in a last stream, there wasn't a chance. There's not a bone in my body that I would cheer for Ohio State. There's not a chance in hell that I wanted the Big Ten to find themselves an opportunity to win the whole damn thing. So I don't care how much you guys hate Georgia. I was never going for Ohio State. Never. If it's FSU, Ohio State would probably be the only time that I go for Ohio State. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. Like, that one is so hard. Miami, I would 100% go for Miami over Ohio State, but Ohio State, Florida State, God, dude, I wouldn't even turn the TV on. I wouldn't even turn the TV on.
Chat, you tell us, guys. If it's an Ohio State, Florida State national championship, who are we rooting for? I can't wait to see this.
Real quick, Masan says, how does Sonny Dykes lead a 5-7 team to the Natty, and Billy Napier is poised for their 4-5 season with Graham Mertz as our quarterback? I've seen that a lot. Sonny Dykes, first-year quarterback with a 45 ranked in recruiting, gets it done. It's different out there in Texas, boys. I'm going to tell you.
Have you ever seen a horned frog?
So great answer, Scott. If it's FSU versus Ohio State, I hope for the stadium to collapse. Matt Scott says, I hate Ohio State more than Georgia. Jeremy says, never cheer for Georgia. Zeke says FSU.
Okay. Tyler,
Aaron says
FSU,
Ohio State.
Up,
okay. Chris says Ohio State. Q Lee says Ohio State. Joshua says Ohio State. Yeah, I couldn't do FSU because the problem why I couldn't vote for FSU is that I have to look at your face for the next 12 months. I don't know too many Ohio State fans that I would have to look at, nor are they as obnoxious as the Florida State fans. I couldn't. You guys won a bowl game against a 6-7 football team, and I thought you guys won the whole damn. I thought the season was over. You're blowing the chat up. I'm like, are we not playing any more football games this year? Because the way Holly sees it,
it's over.
It's over.
Yeah. Let me hoist my Cheez-It ahead over my head. Look at my Cheez-It.
It's
just
Ohio.
for the record, I am not an egotistical FSU fan because I never made you wear anything FSU on this. That was the original bet.
I have to though because I'm a man of my word. It's not that I haven't wanted to. I owe you to it. I owe you a T-shirt wear. No. I'm okay with wearing it. I made the bet. I have zero. I'm not going to hide from it. I don't own one, so I can't just throw it on. It's a complete sweep for Ohio State University. It's a complete sweep. That was a fun question. Thank you guys for your participation. And we could run probably like just some tests here, right? With our people. We could do what is it called? What is it called when you do like you know what I'm talking about? Like a poll, right? Like we could probably run some research for anybody if they need it, right? We just ask the chat. They go, hey, according to 50% of the population, they say that Ohio State over FSU. I mean, it's fact. The chat has determined it. We're moving on. If it's Miami, this is the last one. Miami or FSU? Well, obviously I know who you would go for, but I'm asking the chat, Miami or FSU. Sure. I would take Miami.
Bastard.
Yeah, I know. Now,
I trusted you.
So this year, this year made me hate Miami even more than I have in the past. I usually have always had kind of like a mutual respect for Miami, but my disdain for Miami has grown a tremendous amount this year. So it would be really tough for me, honestly, this year. I would have to depend on how that season went and how Miami fans were acting versus how FSU fans. It would have to, honestly, it would come down to a game time decision.
There's
no
such thing as a Miami fan. Just go ahead and point that out. Like, when have you ever bumped into a Miami fan?
That's my point. That's my point. The non-Miami fans, the non-Miami fans, how bad would they be in that time frame will be how I make my decision. There's a lot of FSUs. This one's 50-50. So the people I've spoken, someone said Clemson. Okay, that's a great answer. That's a tough one.
Thank you, Mbeck. We appreciate that.
FSU, a lot of FSUs in there. Okay.
To Aaron's point, FSU, but it's going to make me vomit.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
That is a tough one. For if you're a Florida fan, look, I can understand.
Okay, to you, Steve, Miami or Florida. You're going to choose Florida. You hate Miami.
I hate Miami. Yeah, I would take Florida. I would. No, now look. I'm not going to sit back and cheer when you guys get something right.
Sure.
I'm going to sit back and basically not move. I'm going to be like a statue. I'm just going to
Florida or Brian Kelly, LSU.
So what?
Florida or Brian Kelly's LSU.
Oh, let's not do that. God, I hate that guy. Why? No, that's a tough one, bro. That's a tough one, bro.
You have zero hate for LSU, but the fact that Brian Kelly's involved, it
makes me just want to piss on the whole thing. But you know what? You know what? Hold on. I'll do this. The LSU Stadium, Mike the Tiger, the terrarium aquarium thing, and I like enough about LSU that I would pull for LSU.
Okay, fair enough. We'll do this afterwards, Mr. Nobody. The way too early prediction for this year for the Gators. I'm going to clip it and get absolutely roasted for it. But you know what? It's talking season, so we're going to go ahead and do it. But let's go ahead and go through UGA versus Georgia. I want to know in the comments from you guys because I'm in a dilemma here. I really don't know who I want to win. I really don't. So this is the first time that there isn't, to me, in my opinion, a true enemy. Where I despise them, right? I didn't want Big Ten. It's a no-brainer. I hate Michigan and Ohio State more than I despise Georgia. So that was an easy pick for me. And TCU over Michigan, like who's not picking that, right? TCU obviously would be the great story, the Horned Frogs, the purple hoser, the Max Duggan, the true Heisman winner. Great story, great first-year coach. I mean, just incredible, right? But I gotta be. I'm SEC biased. I want us to continue to dominate. Like, that's where I'm at. Like, anytime Steve starts running his mouth, I go, hey, when's the last time the ACC won a championship? And I just gotta tell him to shut up and get away. You know what I mean?
3 years, 2 or 3 years
ago. Yeah, but it's been a long time. The SEC has been in 16 to 17 championships over the last 17 years. I mean, they have dominated. And we're still going to be in it. But a lot of people are saying TCU because I know you guys hate Georgia, and I get that. But I like for the SEC reign. This would put, 4 years in a row for the SEC if they win? 4 or 5?
It's got to be the last person not to be SEC has got to be Clemson, right? And Alabama beat them the last time they played, so that'd probably be 3 years, 4 years.
See, everybody's saying TCU. It's not even a question. Wow, this is crazy.
Golly.
This is crazy. Okay, look. So to me, if I don't mind TCU, I don't mind losing to the Big 12 either. Like, if it's an ACC team in Georgia, no question it's Georgia. If it's the Pac-12, Georgia. The Big 10, Georgia, right? But the Big 12, I like a lot of teams in the Big 12. I like Texas. I've been vocal about Texas. I mean, I love the orange. It's my favorite color, right? So, who else is in the Big 12?
Even that
I hate Oklahoma. Hate Oklahoma.
Oh, hate Oklahoma. I'm
Texas,
with you on that.
Texas Tech,
we have a mutual agreement. I hate Oklahoma.
Texas Tech, no hard feelings there. Oklahoma State, sexy ass orange. Fuck with Oklahoma State.
And their head coach has a mullet. I mean, come on.
I mean, how could you not go for him? And the Cowboys and Ricky Fowler went there. I like Oklahoma State too. So, all right, it's TCU. I got it, guys. It's fucking TCU. Sorry I brought it up. Holy shit. Fuck. My goodness.
Bro.
I like Kirby Smart too, though. You know what I'm saying? Picking the dogs is disgusting. Really, guys?
Look, I like Georgia because Kirby Smart played there. He's at home. He's at his home. Like
You're picking Georgia?
I'm picking Georgia. Oh, for sure. Like, why
really?
would I not?
No, not like a bet big, but like you want Georgia to win.
I want Georgia to win.
Wow, you wouldn't, for just the sake of argument, you don't want SEC to take the L here so you can tell us to fuck off?
I don't care. I like Georgia. Georgia's always been kind of a love for me because Mark Richt was our offensive coordinator. He left to go to Georgia. I always appreciated what Mark Richt did while he was at FSU. His relationship with Bobby Bowden was super strong. Georgia, and this is when Georgia wasn't very good and Florida State really was. So we kind of looked at Georgia like they were kind of our sister school. And I've never had any hatred towards Georgia at all whatsoever. And when Mark Richt left and Kirby came in, I'm like, that's kind of cool that a guy who played football for that school is now the head coach of that school. And the fact he turned him into a powerhouse, I don't know what do you want me to hate about those guys, right? It's just, to me, I have no dog in the fight, so why not?
All right, so all of you just yelling at me saying you're an idiot and say go TCU and say Shelton Says Shelton R sounds like Hermione. Go ahead and flip to Georgia. I'm just voicing. I'm talking it through, guys. Okay, just give me a second. Damn. But Zachary Vega, the only reasonable person here that actually knows how to convince somebody. He goes, it's bigger than the SEC. Very few Lizards mascots, Gators and Horned Frogs, stick together on the 9th. Now you're speaking to me, okay?
Okay. Look, that's some solid rationale.
That's something that I can get behind. Get behind.
Well done there. Well done. You know what? That's some insight that's got the wheels turning for Shelton's head. I can see it in his face.
So Aaron made a good point. Georgia winning another championship would kill us. It does feel worse that if Georgia were to win another one, it does feel like it would be worse for Florida football than, let's say, if Bama were to win again. I almost wanted Bama to go in just because when Bama wins, it's you're used to it, right? It doesn't really there's no swing in things. It's just like, okay, like the same shit happened. It's not gonna impact recruiting. It's not gonna influx anything because the same shit's gonna continue to happen. Georgia wins. Well, now it's another beast that's growing that's taken away. I'm convincing myself that I'm okay with the SEC taking a loss here. For that, boys. Horned Frogs, baby! Woo!
Go Dogs! Sick 'em.
Quit yelling at me, okay? Guys, I like college football, all right? I can't say I like Kirby Smart as a coach without getting just absolutely just railroaded. Come on. I'm just talking it through, guys. I hate Georgia as a whole, but I mean, come on. Fuck.
Somebody who was it? Hold on. Brandon Curry. Hawley didn't like it when Spurrier was at his alma mater whooping that ass at FSU. I'm pretty sure Spurrier had a losing record against Florida State when he was the coach there. I'm just going to point that. When Spurrier was at Florida. He was saying that he had a losing record against FSU.
No. I should see if Uncle Lou will bring me on during the game, and I'll represent TCU. I'm tired of grown men barking. This is fair. Chris says, "Show me."
Yeah, that's
true.
Agree
with
no,
this?
No, grown men should not be barking. Ridiculous.
Bro, I think about this, bro. Like the fact, Uncle Lou is just cat. Like, I mean, how great for you to be a Georgia channel and your team just be kicking ass and taking names, bro.
Yeah.
Mass. God forbid Florida got the shit going. Could you imagine? Florida's in Natty right now, bro. There'd be 6,000 people in here just hanging out with us. We wouldn't know what to do with our hands. We would have no clue what the hell, because people would just be like, we got to hear these dumbasses talk about it. But here we are talking about 2024 recruiting, because that's about the highlight of our.
It's recruiting talk.
That's the highlight, boys. All right, let's go ahead and let's give you guys the projection here, because you know, Mr. Wiggs, I think it was Mr. Nobody. Somebody asked for it. Florida, I gotta look at the schedule. I know what it is. I know we play Utah first. I know it's actually pretty. I was looking at it actually just the other day. Florida is down 2 with 6 seconds left in basketball, by the way.
Hey, look at that. Texas A&M finally got their jerseys on, huh?
Bro, hey, guys, Mitt Muddy, you said that Mike White was trash and that we need to get rid of him. I know you remember if you're in here. Mike White's 10-3. We're 7-6, about to beat 7-7. So I want an apology, Muddy. He's probably gone.
Look, guys, I'll be honest with you. I have given Shelton some hell about different things throughout the course of our friendship. And if there's one thing I can tell you about Shelton is the man's like a fucking elephant, dude. He doesn't forget. He keeps receipts.
Oh, yeah.
Everything. And he will bring some shit up from like 6 months ago, like 8 months ago. Like, it's been gone, forgotten. We haven't said a word about it. He's like, remember that time? Do you remember when you said... What, you keep like an Excel spreadsheet of this?
Yes.
Like, how do you do this?
All right, so we've got at Utah. I want to say I believe Cameron Rising is coming back because he got injured in the bowl game, which I hate hearing, but I believe that he is coming back. They did lose their running back. I don't know if it was their starter or second string who entered into the portal today.
He went to the portal, yeah.
Was it their second string, first string? Which, I mean, both.
I thought it was their first string guy.
I think it was too. I was talking with Mark at work, and he's a big Utah fan. I want to say he was the quarterback turned running back. And he's just kind of a freak. He was an athlete, but I can't not pick Florida here. Like I have to. I don't know. This is why because I hate this because I want to win, and I'm not gonna go into that game thinking we're gonna lose because honestly, the same reason why we won last year. We have a brand new team again going into this. Yeah, they don't have quite as a brand new team if Cameron Rising stays. And I don't feel like we really won the game with Anthony Richardson. So everyone's like, oh, we got Graham Mertz now. We didn't win that game with Anthony. He had some great plays. We won that game with running the ball, and the defense played really well. So the running team is still there. The O-lineman, yes, we're not quite sure. Our O-line, we're not sure where that's going to be at. But the thing that won, what Billy does a great job at, is still intact for the most part. So I got to go with Utah. So we want to know. McNeese State at Florida, obviously that's a W. Tennessee and Gainesville without Hendon Hooker, I like. I really do. I really, really do. I think there's a great opportunity there. It's going to be the first real game in Ben Hill. It's going to be insane. The reason why you play the games is because there's always going to be an opportunity. Tennessee is not going to be as good as they were, not going to be good this year as they were last year. And they barely beat us last year at home. We're going to be at home. And at this point, I feel like we could be kind of on a little bit better of a rhythm. At least we have, in my opinion, a second easy game. We're not playing Kentucky or something. We're going to get our teeth kicked in. So if we get a good win against Utah, we'll get a great win against McNeese, and now we're flowing. Last year, we never got into a rhythm. We could roll into Tennessee and do some damage. I really do.
Yeah, that one I can see. Look, if Joe Milton, the kid who played in the Orange Bowl against, if he was coming back,
no, he is.
He's a senior.
Oh, he is a senior. That's right. That's what I. But I think he. So he's not coming back. Are we sure?
I mean, it says Hendon Hooker's a senior, Joe Milton the third senior from Pahokee, Florida. And
that's right. So you and I talked about that. And I was like, I'm pretty sure they're going to be down to a freshman quarterback, and that was a big thing that I mentioned as well.
Taven Jackson right now is the next man up.
And Nico's coming in as well. They're $8 million quarterback. But look, all right, I'm 3-0 then. I'm 3-0 thus far. I'm going to get railroaded, but I don't care. Charlotte, who was fun to bet on this year, 4-0. Okay, cakewalk. Okay. Kentucky, I'm pretty sure they lost Chris Rodriguez, but obviously they picked up Devin Leary. But the way they got exploited in their bowl game, I understand Will Levis was gone, but that's the team that their defense is horrendous. They don't have an offensive coordinator currently. I know they got Devin Leary, but I don't feel like it's not Will Levis, and I don't think Will Levis beat us last year. We beat ourselves. And again, I know we've got a new team coming in, but at this point we're 4-0, and if in my opinion, we should be able to roll. We should be able to roll.
Okay.
We're 5-0. I'm going crazy here, I know, but how I look at it, things can get moving in college football if they fall the right way. It just takes one or two W's. This year, honestly, we were 2 ways to win from believing like, hey, we are that team. Honestly, like for the fact that we were in it every game, it was just we were missing the it factor. Then we got Vandy. We don't lose to Vandy twice. I'm not even going to talk about it. Leave me alone. South Carolina. I say we roll South Carolina. We've already beat them once. We don't see us losing again. I think it's gonna be a good game, but I see us winning again. So now I'm crazy. We're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-0. I'll just be realistic. Say we lose to Georgia, even though they're gonna have a new quarterback, but that quarterback's apparently pretty good. He's from Jax. He's from Orange Park High or something like that. I was talking with Ted about it. He's really good apparently. Kind of just waiting his turn. So we're 7-1. Arkansas, I'll give us 8-1. I'll say we lose to LSU 8-2. And then we went out. So we finished 10-2. It's a wild prediction. Wild ass prediction. I get it. It's you guys are gonna roast me. Go ahead. Some of you guys are saying 4-8. I want to know where the 4 losses. I'm sure your losses are probably gonna be FSU because I'm not gonna say we lose to FSU, but let's just go. But let's be realistic. You do it, Steve, because you're gonna be a little biased, but I'll fight back if I feel like you're being crazy. Go ahead.
So the Utah running back he wasn't a huge loss for them. He only had like 530
They
yards.
are losing their tight ends though, but continue.
They are. That's a huge thing for Utah because those guys were just machines in that offense. I'm going to say Utah with a new quarterback in that environment, first game, I think Utah's a loss.
Okay.
McNeese State, let's just skip that one altogether.
All right, 1-1.
Tennessee in Gainesville in the fans, it's in the swamp. I don't know if Tennessee can overcome that. I don't care what Tennessee has trot out on the field. I just don't think that they could overcome the atmosphere.
So you give it to Florida?
I give it to Florida.
Okay, 2-1.
Skip it.
3-1. Okay.
Yep. Kentucky. That's not an intimidating environment. And I think if Florida has the quarterback at least settled and you guys can run the ball, I think that'll be a win for you guys. So I'll go ahead and give you Kentucky and Vandy.
4-1.
All right.
5-1.
Yep.
Okay.
5-1. Yep. Does Rattler have any
He's still there.
eligibility?
Yeah,
Does he have eligibility for next year?
Yeah, he's still there. He's only a junior.
South Carolina finished the season pretty well. They beat Tennessee and Clemson.
Yeah, look, I think that's a good pick. So you're taking South Carolina. So we're 5-2.
I'll take South Carolina on that one. Yep.
5-2.
Georgia.
5-3. Okay.
All right.
Arkansas.
Arkansas. I think you win that one.
6-3.
Yep. In Gainesville. Yep. LSU at LSU.
6-4. You're gonna say LSU.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. And then Missouri, I think you beat that one.
7-5.
Florida State. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna take Florida State out of just fanhood. But I mean, I don't think I'm not doing it because I'm a fan. I'm doing it because 80% of our.
So you got us going 7-5 because you got us losing to Florida State, LSU, Georgia, South Carolina,
in Utah.
Oh, in Utah. So you got 7-5. Okay.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's a healthy. Jordan says 9-4. Anthony says 8-3. Dave says 7-5. Gator Nation says 6-6.
Well, hold on. I'll say 8-5. I'll say 8-5 because I think that you win your bowl game. The matchup. I believe
I don't care about that.
Is. Let's go.
7-5. Okay. Look, I obviously my fandom overtook that when I was going for it, but look, I can't sit here and say, like, as a fan, genuinely, I can't sit here and say, hey, we can lose these games because I believe we can win these games. I believe in Billy. I believe in the process. What I saw last year, and I know what things are going to be changing, but I believe in the kids that are coming in. I really do. Call me crazy.
No, you're not crazy. You're a fan. Fan is sort of fanatic. The whole point of being a fan is to think that you're going to win every game.
You have to.
Realistically. Yeah, right. That's why we do this, guys. That's why we get on this show, and that's why we talk about our team so passionately, because we think we're going to win every game, and we want to win every game.
You have to have that as a player. You have to have that mindset as well, too.
Of course.
Scott says 8-5. B Bean says 8-1. Duddle said, "How do we go 8-3? We win football games." Sports says 10-3. So I'm assuming he's picking the bowl game as well. Clayton Young says 10-2. I swear says 9-4. Look, I don't think it's.
We're all in the same neighborhood here.
This year, I think I picked us like, I think it's losing 3 games is what I picked us this year. Obviously, we lost a lot more. The Vandy game was outrageous. The FSU one is always going to be a toss-up. Like, you can't really count that, but that was obviously a big L. And look, part of what I said was we got to get on a roll. And losing Kentucky was a tough one. I had us beating Kentucky. I had us losing to LSU. I had us losing to Georgia. I think I had us losing to Texas A&M, if I had to be honest.
I believe so. Going into the season with what they looked like, I mean, weren't they a top 5 team? To start?
People had them. You had them in your damn bowl.
I know for sure. I 100% thought that was going to be a team that was going to be in the playoffs.
My 3 losses last year were Georgia, Texas A&M, and LSU, and I had 2 of the 3 right. So look, my opinion, Tennessee is not going to be what Tennessee was this year. And they barely got through with us. I think I have been preaching it this entire time. Tennessee was lightning in a bottle. Now they did a great job. They rolled Clemson, which if that's an embarrassing loss for Clemson. I don't care that you didn't have DJ Lagway in. You had your guy in. That's an embarrassing loss. You should.
Ugo.
Yeah,
Ugo.
Yeah. Kentucky. I feel like Kentucky, after beating us, it was just a constant, just slow decline for the rest. Can't see man for the rest of the year. And I don't think they really, even though we didn't have a great close, I don't see Kentucky getting it done. So South Carolina's going to be a tough game. We could lose that game. Arkansas is probably going to be tough because Arkansas played. They were better than what
they were sneaky good this year.
Yeah, they were better than what their record showed. I just don't know
what they bring back or what they got going on.
Anthony says lost to Utah, Georgia, and LSU. That's fine. 8-3. One game was hurricaned out. Oh, that's right. 8-3 does it add up to 12.
the concern with the Tennessee game or with the Utah game, I think, is really the big one. I don't know. Richardson did a lot, especially for the Tennessee game. Richardson did a ton in that game. Didn't he throw for like 400 yards and like 4 touchdowns?
No. Which one? The Tennessee game? No,
he threw
for like 400 yards at the end of the year versus and we still lost.
Look at this.
Was it you? Was it versus Florida State? He had a 400-yard passing game towards the end of the year. I can't remember who it was against.
Let me look at this. I'm pretty sure that against Tennessee he went.
He might. It was like a 45-38 football game. So.
Anthony Richardson, 453 yards passing
in Tennessee too. Okay. I think because
that's
like
a lot. That's a lot of offense, man.
Yeah. Yo, I'm so excited that Todd Golden lost 0-2 in the SEC. Yeah, like, bro, we lose Mike White. That's brutal, boys. God, we're at a down point right now for Florida as a whole. But
holy crap! So Richardson in that game, 453 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. He only had 1 sack, and then he was 17 rushes for 67 yards. He was your highest rusher for the game with two more touchdowns. He accounted for 4 touchdowns and 1 pick.
That was the game.
He was a machine in that game, right? Now, look, Hendon Hooker, he played his game, and he had 127 yards rushing.
So look, with that knowledge, I didn't realize he balled out that much. That game may not be as much as a shoo-in because the guy that in a sense won that or kept us close is now gone. So,
well, yeah, but so was their guy and their backup guy, and so now Tennessee's gonna have to figure something out. Look, I will say this: Heupel has been a quarterback whisperer just about everywhere he's gone. So I'd be scared of that guy. He beat us in the national championship in 2000, and I hate that guy. So. Fuck you, Josh Heupel.
Boys and girls, ladies and gents, as always, phenomenal show. Absolute banger after banger after banger. The chat was wild, as always, which I enjoy. You guys are just a great time. I appreciate Uncle Glenn. What's up, man? Good luck to you on Monday, buddy. But go Horned Frogs. Guys, boys and girls, we were going to be doing, I'm not sure, I have an interview with Ben Chase, the man that's traveling around the globe right now, going to 76, 77 football games. I haven't decided if I'm going to do it live just yet. I will be on a show tomorrow. I don't know if his show is live. If it is, I'll tweet it out. But I'm going on a separate sports show tomorrow. I can't think of his name right now. Here, I'll look him up. It's Mark Rogers TV. He has his own show, The Voice of College Football. So I'll be on his show tomorrow. Okay. I don't know if he goes live or not, but I will be there. And then Ben Chase will be on for Friday. So, boys, girls, ladies, and gents, Till next week, I'm Shelton.
And I'm Holly.
Pleasure, boys and girls. Thank you guys for stopping by. Love you. Be good. See you, boys.
Love you guys.
Woo! So fight and die for the things you know you love. Do what you think is right and see life do what you want. So fight and die for the things you know you love. Do what you think is right.
Hey, who did I say was coming on, Chris? GC? The Gator Collective? Who are you talking about? He's coming at me heavy.
Encore people. We got an encore, people.
What you talking about, Chris? Talking
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. She was Jen was supposed to come on. She actually texted me today. We've been talking. I said it in the show. She said that she was busy and could not come on. So I can't control what other people do. But yes, she was supposed to be on, but she did not. So.
George, see you later, baby.
Turn that to gains, let my money show.